Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Welcome back, students. We have been discussing the productive skills, and so far we have discussed what are the various approaches to teaching productive skills. We discussed product-based approach, process-based approach, and genre-based approach. Now I will take up the two productive skills, listening and speaking, and we will be looking at how you can become good in the productive skills. Okay. So we will be now looking at the two productive skills, and first we begin by looking at the differences between the two, speaking and writing. As you know, both of them are the productive skills. You have to produce some output in case of either speaking or writing. We discussed various steps of producing a writing or a speech. But let us also understand the difference between speaking and writing. The obvious difference between the two is the medium that is employed. Speaking is oral and writing is written. Speaking is done either in face-to-face circumstances or through telephone or through social media, whereas writing primarily involves writing on paper that gets published or writing on web-based portals, web-based forums. But in addition to the difference in channel and the medium, there are some basic differences between speaking and writing. One most important difference is speaking is often spontaneous. Spontaneous in the sense, right now, immediately. On the other hand, writing is very well planned and organized. So when we talk of speaking as spontaneous, what we basically mean is that you get immediate feedback, you can give clarifications immediately, you can substantiate, you can make modifications, you can make changes. For example, right now I am speaking to you. While speaking, I can elaborate on certain things. I can make changes when I look at the students in my class, and if I feel that they have not understood something, I can elaborate on that. I can give more examples. I can paraphrase. But in writing, you don't have all such facilities. Once you have written something, it is done. And therefore, it is considered to be more well planned, more organized, more formal, and more structured than speaking is. One another very important aspect of writing is that it is verifiable because it is preservable. So a book that Shakespeare wrote in 17th century, 16th century is available to you. But you may not have a record of what your mother told you last night. Speaking cannot be verified. That is why people go back on their spoken words. Your friend may tell you that the person will be meeting you at 4:30, but the person may not show up at all. And then the person may tell you that we did not decide to meet today, we decided to meet next week. But that cannot be done in case of writing because it is verifiable, it's all written, documented, preservable. So a person has to be very careful in writing things because that is verifiable, it is documented, it is preservable. In speaking, there are a lot many non-verbal cues and para-language which plays a very important role in understanding the overall meaning. Right now I am speaking to you. The way I am talking, the way I am explaining, you are able to gain confidence in me or lose confidence in me. The way I am sitting, the place where I am sitting, everything contributes to making of the meaning. But in writing, all these things are not available to you. Whatever is written on the page is the only thing that the reader has to fall back upon to construct meaning. And there are no additional appendages to help make meaning. And therefore, writing has to be very precise. It has to say what was meant to say. Therefore, though both of them are the productive skills, writing is more exacting, more precise, requires a little bit more efforts on the part of the producer. Having said that, let us have a look at the various techniques we can use for teaching productive skills. So we can divide our learners into 3 stages. The first stage can be those who are beginners, those who are learning either to speak in a particular language or they are learning to write in a particular language. We can begin by controlling the kind of language that they are generating. We can teach them language through language drills. We can bring in certain tables, certain samples, which they can focus on part by part, item by item. We can, for example, if we want to teach them sounds, we can teach them how a particular sound is uttered. For example, if I want to teach them "t," the "t" that is spoken in India is different and the "t" that is spoken in English is different. So, an English speaker would say time, time. So, the tongue will touch the lower teeth ridge. But in India, in several Indian languages, we would curl our tongue and pronounce the letter "t." So, we can focus on each item part by part. Similarly, suppose I have to teach them how to write the letter T. I can teach them to draw a straight line, draw a curve, and then cross the line. So, I can go structure by structure, sound by sound to teach them the nuances, the intricacies of one particular level. That is to be done at the beginner level. There can be several language drills. So, suppose we want to teach them the difference between long E or short E. Students often confuse between these two sounds, E and E. So, we can create some exercises. Fill, feel, live, leave, hill, heal. Focus on one particular part, create language drills and exercises, teach them sentence patterns. For example, SVO, a very simple Ram saw Sita kind of a sentence, or psychomotor patterns. So, we use substitution tables. Sometimes we even give them dictations and we ask them to repeat. So, at the beginner level, whichever productive skill we are talking about, whether we are talking about speaking or we are talking about writing, at the beginner level, we have to go very slowly. Primarily use substitution tables, language drills. We can employ dictation, whether it is in case of helping them write better or helping them learn to sounds and understand the difference between the sounds, and also make them repeat whatever has been said by the teacher. Here are some examples of the substitution drills. As you can see in the first example, teacher says she is a worker. The teacher gives a hint, doctor. The students are supposed to repeat by substituting one word. She is a doctor. The doctor says she is a teacher. Then the kind of structure is going to progress. Only one word would be substituted in each subsequent repetition, and the students are required to maintain the same structure but create new sentences. This is called a substitution drill. There is another example given there. He is going to eat the cake. The teacher gives an example, coffee. This is called multiple substitution table. On the left hand side, you have a single substitution. On the right hand side, you have a multiple substitution. Now, he is going to eat the cake. But when you give the cue word coffee, a change has to be made from eat to drink. He is going to drink the coffee. Now the word comes Mary. Mary is going to drink the coffee. So the substitution is made at different levels and not only at the one word level. There is another example given at the bottom. Repeat after me, post office. Teacher says, student says post office. Now this is a building exercise. To the post office. Going to the post office. I am going to the post office. So gradually with one word, two word, phrase, two phrases, sentence level, the students will be asked to repeat after the teacher. These are various kinds of language drills, substitution drills, which are used at the beginner level to teach the students to speak as well as to write. They are made to repeat the patterns after the teacher till the time they learn the patterns and learn the sounds and learn the pronunciation properly. So dictation method, everybody knows. The teacher says out certain words and the students are supposed to write them down in their notebook. As we move on to the intermediate level, there is a necessity of relaxing the control on the students. In the beginner level, they need all the support by the teacher. They need the control of the teacher. But as they promote to the intermediate level, you can just give them guidance and then help them prepare accordingly. Give them a little freedom. Allow them to work in groups or in pairs so that they are comfortable but they become a little more independent. They can bring some pre-written material. They can be given exercises which they can work on, and then you can ask them to either speak on basis of the work that they have done in advance, or they can ask them to write. So they can be given certain cue cards, certain hints, certain signposts which they can follow and work on their own. Some exercises like rearranging jumbled words, rearranging paragraphs. So this is a kind of group work that you can put them into. So as you can see, there are some students who are reading out from a book and there are other students who are writing. They can be giving them some guidance as to how they can write a particular piece of work. Sentences which are jumbled, as you can see in the example, there are certain words which can be rearranged. The sentences have also been jumbled up in the exercise. So once the students unscramble the words to construct proper sentences, they will also be needed to unscramble the sentences and rearrange them to make a meaningful paragraph. This is an exercise based on a template that is provided. So a main idea, how they have to write the sub-ideas, how they can divide the sub-ideas further. So a template can be given and then students can be asked to write whatever is relevant according to the provided template. Now we move on to the advanced level of producers. These people are very proficient. They are seniors. They have been learning language for several years. They know the language basics, words, structures, grammar. They know how to speak. They know the words, the pronunciation. But they may need some exercise in how to become more efficient and effective in terms of organizing their material. And so, such kind of activities will be very useful for them. Picture stories, sequencing stories, information gap, jigsaw puzzle kinds. Some pieces of information are given and they have to infer what is missing, bring in what is missing and complete the whole. At this level, they can be brought into the levels of oral presentations, situational dialogues can be presented, mock interviews can be given to them, so that whatever they know, you can build on further from there. So some pictures are given, they are jumbled up. You do not know which picture comes first, but the students are supposed to rearrange these pictures and write on basis of the pictures. A topic has been given to them. They have to think about the topic and write or speak on basis of the topic. Some examples are given. They are required to complete the sentences by filling in the required items. A very important question that has always been bothering the teachers of English is, what is more important, accuracy in producing or fluency in producing? Let me put these two words in perspective. There are several users of language who are very confident, who are very fluent in speaking. Their language expression is very good. They are able to express themselves beautifully. But some people might find that they make mistakes either in grammar or in choice of words, and they may not be very accurate in saying what they need to say, but they are very fluent. There is another school of thought which focuses more on saying things correctly, using correct grammatical structures, using correct vocabulary, correct spellings, being accurate and precise. And sometimes we meet people who know grammatical rules very well, who are very good with the meanings of the vocabulary and spellings of the words, but unfortunately they are unable to express themselves fluently. It would be interesting to know your views on what is more important, accuracy or fluency. Both of these terms are very much related to productive skills. And therefore, I would like to leave you with this question to think about: what is more important in productive skills, accuracy or fluency? So to end, I would like to summarize what we have discussed in this unit. This is the third unit, productive skills. We discussed that there are two productive skills, speaking and writing. We first had a look at what are the various approaches to teaching these productive skills. We discussed product-based approach, process-based approach and genre-based approach, taking examples for each. Then I started talking to you about the productive skills, speaking and listening. We began by looking at the difference between these two skills, and then we discussed what are the various ways, what are the various techniques in which a beginner, an intermediate producer and an advanced producer can be made better. What kind of activities can be done to make them better producers of language? Finally, I would like you to think about what is more important in productive skills, accuracy or fluency. Till you are ready with your answers, we will take a short break and we continue further from the next unit little later. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.